So Warriors fans are so desperate to see Golden State sign a center that we have this question coming in from Lil Cam and this statement, really. I think the Golden State Warriors should try to get Andrew Bogut back. Bogut is good. I'm not going to say that Bogut is good. He was good. He's 38 years old, hasn't played since 2019. But this is how much Warriors fans want to see this team fortify that front court. Can't wait to get into today's show. But first, show some love to Steph Curry. He rocks the jersey number 30. Let's get to 300 likes on this video here. Steph Curry, 35 years old, still balling. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and let's get the show underway. So, in all seriousness here, appreciate Lil Cam for tuning into the show. Andrew Bogut is cooked. He's washed. He's no longer playing professional basketball. Actually has a pretty solid podcast in which sometimes he has some solid reports, some good basketball analysis for the Aussie. Stats with the Warriors, yeah, this guy was really important to their success several years ago. 6 points per game, 8 rebounds, less than 2 blocks per night, almost 58% from the floor, and 247 games played. But let's be honest here. We're in 2023. Andrew Bogut last played in 2019. He would probably tell you, even though he loves the game of basketball, there's no chance that he would be able to play at the NBA level. But Lil Cam, thanks for being a supporter of the program. Kai Sotto, I hate that they're content with having 6'7" centers and 6'2" small forwards and 100 guards. So obviously a little bit of an exaggeration here. No player on the Dubs currently is over 6'9". They don't have any 6'2" small forwards. Klay Thompson can be identified as a small forward, so too can Andrew Wiggins, but they're not 6'2". They don't have a 100 guards either. But yeah, you make a point here in saying that the Warriors are small, and I think that size is the biggest issue on this team. We just saw the Denver Nuggets win the NBA championship. They have a lot more size than Golden State. They're not going away, really only they lost Bruce Brown this offseason. And then you look at a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, who cost a lot of fits for Golden State. They, too, have a lot of size and got even more throughout this offseason with the pickup like Jackson Hayes in free agency. The Warriors' potential guards here in this lineup. You could throw some wings in here as well. Steph Curry, Gary Payton II, Klay Thompson, Brandon Podziemski, who was awful in the Summer League, Chris Paul, Lester Canonis, Moses Moody. And you look at that lineup there, like Klay Thompson could play the guard spot. He could play wing. Gary Payton, the same can be said for him. But they're not helping your lack of size. KP Bassi, if Kai Sotto is healthy, he, in my opinion, the best low-risk cost option, a big who is defensive-oriented and can use either hand at 21 years old. Kai Sotto did actually get some run with the Orlando Magic in the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. Unfortunately for our Filipino viewers and supporters, he did not play a lot. Only 2 games for Orlando, very limited action. There was a moment in which he missed a dunk and then threw down a dunk. Does have that size, but just looked a little bit slow to be playing at the NBA level. I know that a lot of people want to see him become the first Filipino-born basketball player to play in the NBA. We've had a lot of people with Filipino ties. Jalen Green is one of them. Eric Spoelstra has some Filipino ties, but no Filipino-born player has ever been drafted, played in the NBA. Kai Sotto could become the first. Unfortunately for him, though, I just don't think he has what is required to make an NBA roster, even if he's getting DNP'd every night. What do you think, though? We'll open up the floor here. A lot of people tuned into the show from the Philippines. Would you sign Kai Sotto? S for sign or P for pass? That'll be our pinned comment, so make sure you scroll on down, get those votes in, especially if you get hit with that YouTube ad break. Let's go to this one now from Gary Graham. Kelly Olynyk for Moses Moody, maybe a future draft pick. I like both Kuminga and Moody, and I'd rather not trade either, but Golden State needs some more size in the front court. Look, the continued theme that I've continued to talk about, and it hasn't gotten better, and I think that this is going to be a problem for Golden State this upcoming season, is that lack of size at the center position. Now, Kelly Olynyk can help you there. He can play the 4, he can play the 5. I like his game because he's playing a lot of high leverage, pressure cooker type of moments. He's played well in those moments as well. And I think that he'd be a solid player. I just don't know if you're going to give up anything of note for Olynyk. And while I say that the Warriors do need some front court pieces here, I think that Moses Moody actually showed some flashes in that Lakers series defended at a pretty good level, and he can shoot the three. If he adds a little bit of a handle to his game as well, I think that he could be a pretty valuable rotation piece who helps your youth movement here and gives you some of that young athleticism, who is certainly a capable player on both ends. David Taka, we are so guard heavy. Why can't we give up Moses Moody? Again, for the reasons that I talked about, I do believe that he has some value here, and he can play the guard spot, he can play the wing spot, and obviously his first 2 years, he hasn't put up crazy numbers by any means, but the three-point numbers, can he become 38, 39, 40% three-point guy? I think that's in him. 36+% his first 2 years in the NBA, 47% from the field this past year. Those are solid numbers right there, and with some more minutes, with Jordan Poole getting traded to the Washington Wizards, can a guy like Moses Moody get a little bit more burn and then in turn give you some more production? I do think players like that are pretty valuable. Before we continue to take your questions, make sure you subscribe to us here on Golden State Warriors Today. As you can see with the figures here to my right, we are less than 800 people away from 60,000 subscribers. We only need 754 more. It's pretty awesome to see this YouTube channel grow like it has. Wouldn't be possible without Dub Nation. If you're looking for year-round coverage, we have you covered here. Chris Swish, giving up Jonathan Kuminga would be so foolish. He just needs his team to care about him and give him an opportunity. He plays hard for us and wants to compete, not ride the bench. Imagine DNPing Steph his sophomore year. Dude needs minutes and confidence from his coaches and vets. I do agree that with more minutes, I think the confidence will come. And when he's actually gotten some playing time, I don't know that he's lacked confidence. I think that he's played pretty well, but I'm certain that he might be in his head at least a little bit because the lack of consistent playing time, it's just hard to find a rhythm. And he's playing for this team that in his rookie year won an NBA championship. What a whirlwind that must be. And then he barely plays it all in that series against the Los Angeles Lakers outside of some of the garbage time. But the numbers certainly indicate that there's a pretty good player in there. Almost 10 points per game, 37%, 52.5% from the field. You're going to have to live with some of the hurdles for Jonathan Kuminga, but I think it'll reap its benefits because as he gets more playing time, he's going to end up being that player who's going to be very valuable for the Golden State Warriors. One of my bold predictions for the Warriors here in 2023-2024 is that Jonathan Kuminga breaks out. He's shown some flashes so far throughout his career. This past year in his sophomore campaign, almost 10 points per game on 37% shooting. He just needs more playing time, and some opportunities have opened up for Jonathan Kuminga to get some more run with that second unit. The acquisition of Chris Paul, I think, is going to be really important for Kuminga's development and his overall success. He's only 20 years old. He's about to be 21 in October. You're going to have to live with some of the mistakes that he inevitably makes just because he's an inexperienced player. But when you look at him as an athlete who can be a high-impact player on both ends of the floor, I think Kuminga breaks out in his third season this year for Golden State. Book it. All right, next up, No Sleep, Real Vibes. I vote for JaVale McGee when he becomes available from the Dallas Mavericks. If they buy him out, I honestly wouldn't hate it. This is a Jekyll and Hyde player who's been so up and down throughout his career. When he's played well, when he's been engaged, he's been a pretty solid player. But this past year, after the Mavericks signed him in free agency, he was awful. So bad that he wasn't a part of that rotation pretty much. The Mavericks coaching staff, led by Jason Kidd, actually wanted to start him. But because his play was so subpar, they had to move on without him. But for this team, he gives you 10 minutes per night. That's one of those guys who's played in a lot of big playoff games, has a lot of experience, has been in the league for a long time. He's low maintenance as far as his role, offensively and defensively. Rim protector, throw down some dunks. There you go. I'd be about it as well. Mr. Majestic, Jonathan Kuminga traded to the Atlanta Hawks for Jalen Johnson by next year. That's a pretty big, bold prediction there. You know, Jalen Johnson coming out of Duke was a pretty highly touted player, and I liked him coming out of the draft. I thought that he certainly had some ability, but Kuminga for him, I'm taking Kuminga's upside any day of the week. Would you make that trade? T for trade or D for decline? As always, we want to hear from you down in the comment section here. The Guru. Let's see if you are, in fact, a guru. Is Draymond a difficult influence for very young players. Too impatient? I wonder. I could certainly see why you say that. You know, he got in that fight with Jordan Poole, but I'm going to take Draymond's word here, and I'm going to go back to what he said about that situation. I just don't punch people for the sake of punching people. There were moments that led up to Draymond being frustrated. And if Jordan Poole got the bag and then acted cocky, acted pompous with his nose up in the air like he was better than everybody else when he's playing on a team that the core of it has won 4 championships with a head coach like Steve Kerr, where the rumors were Jordan Poole wasn't listening to him and being disrespectful, then yeah, at some point Draymond has to step up and find a way to lead. Now, is finding a way to lead punching him in the face? Yeah, probably not. I disagree with some of my coworkers here at Chat Sports. We do have some colorful arguments inside the office, and I consider myself a leader at this company. Just because I disagree with how they carry themselves doesn't mean I'm going to go up to producer Jack and sock him in the face. That's not a way to solve some of those issues. So I certainly see where you're coming from on both ends there. Draymond needs to wipe the slate clean. You just got to move on at some point. Stop talking about Jordan Poole. He's not on this team any longer. Talking about him right now in the offseason, I'm cool with it, right? If he's still talking about Jordan Poole this upcoming season when he's on the other coast in Washington, then that becomes an issue. Make sure you subscribe to the show. It's Golden State Warriors today. Thank you so much for all of the questions that came in today. It's always a blast to be able to chop it up with everybody and interact with Warriors fans out there who are able to be a part of the show, because that's what we're about here at Chat Sports. Audience interaction and chopping it up with everybody out there. It's been Golden State Warriors today. For producer Jack, I'm Chase Sr. Absolute pleasure. Hope all of you are enjoying your weekends.